hours a day or 5 hours, whatever. Imagine what life would be like if you took one of those hours every day and spend it on something productive, right? And I'm not saying you're not productive on your phones, but we're not always working while we're on our phones, right? So keep that at bay, keep that under wraps, or else university is going to be very tough for you guys, because nobody's going to tell you to put it away, right? Your prof won't care. Did I tell you that they video game at the back row? The back row, they're full on video gaming on their laptops. I've seen it, I've heard it, and they're not doing good, right? It's like the kid walking the halls. It's like, hey, why don't I just walk the halls? If you ask the kid, right, they're not doing well, right? They're not getting their credits, right? So you kind of have to be your own boss and tell yourself, I'm gonna put this away right now, and I'm gonna focus on this, right? Whatever the task is. It could be math, physics, chemistry, bio, you name it, right? Anyways, so the first question you did on the whiteboard, so I'm gonna kind of just skip forward through it a little faster. Semi-monthly payments, that means that CY should be 2, right? This question is assuming that you're making what, semi-monthly payments should have been 24. That's where the 24 comes from. And then compounded semi-annually, that's 2 right there. If it's a loan, most likely you're gonna want this to be 0. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, because read carefully. That's all I'm going to say. But for the most part, I've seen this being 0 all the time. Payment has to be negative. If you get the signs wrong, your answer will probably be wrong. We take away the down payment. I want to talk about purchases, okay? Some of you are adding taxes to almost everything you see. Let's just tax everything, right? And I'll talk about that more in the quiz. If it says including taxes, please don't add taxes. You're double taxing. And when it comes to a house, you don't tax a house. There's something we call land transfer tax. That's different. We don't cover it in this course. But a house is not taxed 12%. That would be a lot of money that you probably would, right? You couldn't afford it if that were the case. So it's not 12%. So don't tax anything if it says including taxes, and don't tax a house, okay? Just saying that. So you take away the down payment, there it is. And this is what you're solving for, right? So always be clear, what are you solving for? That is what we're solving for. And N, right, it's asking for 2 things. Watch this. It's asking for how many payments. The province won't do this to you. They won't ask for either or, but I'm asking you how many payments. There would be 558 payments. Okay, that's how many payments there are. So there's 557 and then 1 small payment at the very end. But there are 558 payments, okay? That's what that is saying. So N always tells you the payments. Semi-monthly they are, right? And then to figure out how long in years, you go N divided by PY, whatever PY is. That gives you the time in years. So I was asking 2 things here, and just keep that in mind. How much will Amanda still owe in 5 years? 5 years times 24, right? So whatever PY is, right? This time times 24, it should be 120. So still owing 233 and something after 5 years. So you got to use balance for that. It's the fastest way to do it. We're appreciating here at 2% per year. How much is the house? Does it say how much is the house worth, right? Doesn't ask for equity, just how much is the house worth in 5 years. Make sure, I'm going to use a different highlighter, you use the original value of the home. Don't be taking the PV on your TVM solver, because that's not what a house is worth. That's how much you're borrowing, okay? So that's what you get, and it's appreciating, so you add. Some of you were supposed to subtract, but you were adding on the quiz. So you got to watch out. This should be, in this case, over 1. It's increasing, so your house is worth this much after. Equity, in this case, equity, the work that you needed to do normally is already being done ahead of you, right? Ahead of that question. So balance owing after 5 years, how much your house is worth, that is your equity. Okay. Total interest, you can't use this one, right? This one does not work because you have a decimal in your n. Okay, so you got to go n times the payment minus whatever is the present value is in your TVM solver. So that is the interest that you've paid overall. So you can copy this down real quick. Backside, this is the one I'm going to actually grab my, did I post this key? I don't think I did. The backside is the one I'm really interested in today, okay? That's basically based on yesterday's lesson that I made you copy a question. So we're good. My hope is that once we start working through old exams that I can slow down a little bit and go off on the whiteboard and kind of just, I'm going to pick your brains like, hey, remember this, remember this, remember this, and we'll just kind of slow down a little bit. Right now I'm just still in the mode where it's like more, right? I want to get to a point where I can just slow down and just be able to review what you've learned. So in this case, Benjamin's gross annual income is $64,000. He's considering buying a house to determine what payment he can afford. If he budgets for $300 for property taxes, $100 on heating, what would be the highest, highlight this one if you haven't done this, what's the highest monthly mortgage payment that you can afford? And it's always based on the Gdsr. The magic number for Gdsr is 32%, right? It's about a third of your income. So maximum mortgage is going to be a maximum housing minus heating minus taxes, minus property taxes. This is a very simplified version of that formula that I gave you. What is your maximum housing that you can spend in this case? We got to do a little bit of math on the side here. You got to find what 64,000 divided by 12 is. That's 1706.67 per month. That's the income per month. Sorry, that's not it, is it? 5,300. It didn't make any sense as soon as I looked at it, it didn't make sense. It's 5,333.33 cents a month, right? This is, you're turning your income into monthly. This is an aside here, okay? So to get the maximum housing, we take our income and we multiply it by 0.32, by 32%. We subtract the monthly heating, make sure everything is in monthly amounts when you do this, when you work with this, okay? So if you have to divide by 12, do it. Multiplying this gives you 1706.67, right? That's what you get here, minus 300, minus 100. So you're not calculating the GDSR here, you're just using it to figure out what the maximum mortgage payment is. And you find out that it's 1306.67. It's the maximum you can afford. And then you would max out, right? So ideally you want to be below that. Ideally, but that's the highest you can afford based on the GDSR, the gross debt service ratio. And now I turn it into a TVM solver question. If he can get a mortgage for a 25-year amortization at this interest rate, compounded semi-annually, what's the maximum he could borrow? Okay. I hope you would understand that you have to use, it's compounding, right? You may use this. Every time there's compounding, you just figure this out, right? So you fill in what you know. Compounding is semi-annually, that's 2, right? What about PY? 12, right? Because it's monthly payment. Like we just figured out that we can afford this per month, so we're assuming that it's a monthly payment. We want to have it paid off at some point. My payment is going to be whatever you got here, and it's going to be negative because you're giving that to the bank every month. The present value is what I'm going to try to figure out. Like, you're going to figure out how much did I start with, like, owing the bank. 3%, 25 years times whatever PY is, that's 12, so that gives me 300. So you end up with the one unknown there, which is PV. When you solve it, you get this, 276, 108, 28. Is this the answer to this question? In this case, is there a down payment? That's what you need to ask yourself. Does it mention a down payment anywhere? No. So you would just say, this is it. This is it. Okay? And I'll just make a note. Add down payment if needed. Okay? If applicable, sorry. Who needs a paper copy? I just remembered. You're all good? If he has a down payment, say for $50,000, what's the maximum price he could afford now? You go 276, 108, 28 plus 50,000. So obviously you can afford a house that is $50,000 more than the loan, right? So that's the house you can afford there. So the back side is 2, 4, and 1. That's 5. 5 there. And the front, you know what? I'm just going to let you keep this one. I know some of you are like, what? I did all the work? Way to go. Don't always do everything because it's worth marks. Do it because it's going to help you understand this better. Okay? And so I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to leave the key there. If you're copying this, go for it. And then grab your quizzes.